Welcome to Chick Talk with Co-op. Today we have with us John Houston, Director of Business Services for ProTrition Feed. The last Chick Talk series we talked about raising our new birds that we got from the local co-op. Now we have a few questions about what to do as these birds age. John, when should I expect to start seeing eggs from my birds?
You know, Lindsay, that's a great question. Somewhere around 20 weeks for the breeds that we typically see, the heavier breeds like Rhode Island Reds and in particular, and some of the barred rocks and things, around 20 weeks. So when you start seeing eggs, it could be week 18, it could be week 21, but on average around 20 weeks.
So should I change my feed once I start seeing those eggs?
Absolutely. What we want to do about that time is start transitioning to a layer feed. If eggs is our goal, that's what we want to do. So if we transition to this layer feed, that could be a pellet or a layer crumble. And these pellets can be different sizes. That's a preference of the owner. They're designed, and all these birds will do well on either one of those. I like this normal pellets. From a protein standpoint, we want to be around that 16%. Some people like to go up to 22%. Depends on what you want to do, but we want to transition right around that 20-week time.
Should they be getting extra water during this time?
Well, we want to leave water out there all the time, so we want those waters full all the time, free choice. So just make sure they're full and they're clean.
Okay, how about treats?
Treats is a good question because that's really a problem in that people think that's a fully fortified feed like scratch feed. I consider that as a treat. These peck blocks, those type things, we consider treats. So those are all great. The chicks, the pullets will do well. The hens will do well. Just don't use that as your sole feed. It's also good to have those available for your current flock when you start working in the new pullets, because there is a pecking order, if you will, and that can be a problem when you introduce new birds into the flock.
That makes sense. Okay, so what about grit and calcium? Do I need to give that to my birds, and what benefit does that really offer my birds?
Great question. We do want to have both of those available. Remember, these are birds. Their whole digestive system is designed differently than a cow or a sheep. So they have a grinding mechanism. They store feedstuffs, and so we want to. And they have a very high metabolic rate. A mature hen's heart rate will be at 250, 300 beats a minute. So wow. They're very high metabolism. So, and as they start laying these eggs, they're going to be using a lot of calcium, and those are stored in their bone structures. So we really want to have calcium available all the time, separate and apart from the feed. Even though the feed is fortified with calcium, we want to make sure they have that available, and grit as well to help with that grinding mechanism.
How much should my mature birds eat?
Well, typically the average hen will eat around 1/4 pound per head per day. And that'll vary depending on the birds. If you've got bantams or some of those type smaller breeds, they're not going to eat that much, obviously. And then some of the bigger breeds like your Rhode Island Reds might eat a little more. But we'll say average about 1/4 pound per day. So if you're figuring, how much feed do I need this month, you can figure that. So.
All right, thanks, John. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
The only other thing is, these are animals. They need to be cared for. Chickens will need care. They need clean places to reside, and they need clean feedstuffs and clean water. And let's just make sure that we're seeing about them every day. And if there are issues, let's get that handled immediately, and let's be responsible poultry owners.
One last question for you, John. Do you have to have a rooster to have eggs?
Well, I've not ever seen a rooster lay eggs, but no, to answer your question, absolutely not. Now, to have fertile eggs and to hatch eggs, you would have to have a rooster.
What's a fertile egg? Explain that.
A fertile egg would be an egg that has been fertilized from the rooster that would be able to hatch into a chick.
Okay,
So-
so keep in mind, you don't have to have a rooster to have eggs. However, to have baby chicks, you do have to have a rooster.
And just to tag on to that, just think about this, any animal or human, the female ovulates eggs, but they have to be fertilized from the male to reproduce. So.
Thanks, John. Thank you for being with us today and sharing your knowledge and expertise with our viewers. Thank you all for joining us. And remember to visit your local co-op for a large selection of chick supplies and the materials needed to transition those birds into laying hens.